The licensure examination for teachers is perhaps the most participated professional exam in the Philippines. Here are some facts about the LET exam in the Philippines. To pass the exam, an examinee must obtain an average rating of not less than 75% and must have no rating of lower than 50% in any of the tests. Let's take a look at the facts about the assessment results last year. In the recent LET conducted last September 2019, only 31.30% of elementary teachers and 39.68% successfully passed the LET in September 2019. In March 2019 administration, only 27.28% of elementary teachers and 25.95% passed the LET in March. To be successful in the upcoming LET exam in March 29, 2020, it's really important that you know the test coverage of the exam. For elementary level, 40% is Gen Ed and 60% is Professional Ed. For secondary level, 20% is Gen Ed, 40% Professional Ed, and 40% area of specialization. For the general education coverage, it's the same for both elementary level and secondary level. And this covers English, Filipino, science, social sciences, and of course mathematics that covers these areas. Fundamentals of math, plane geometry, elementary algebra, statistics and probability. For the Gen Ed exam, calculator is no longer allowed. For this video tutorial to be effective, I will be using this format. 1. I will flash each question for 10 seconds and you may pause the video whenever you want to try out the problem. Next, I will explain each and give you some strategies on how to deal with specific questions. Are you ready? Here we go. Question number 21. A retailer buys candies for 67 pesos and 25 cents. The pack has 35 pieces of candies. If she sells each candy for 2 pesos and 25 cents, how much profit does she make? So how do you intend to solve this type of problem? First, we know that there's 35 pieces of candies and she sells them for 2 pesos and 25 cents. So to find the total sales, we need to multiply 2.25 by 35 pieces. So 5 times 5 is 25, carry 2. 5 times 2, 10, plus 2, 12, carry 1. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 1 is 11. Now we need to multiply by 3. 3 times 5, 15, carry 1. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. 3 times 2 is 6. So we have 5, 7, 8, 78. That means the sales is 78.75. And to calculate for the profit, that means we need to subtract the sales minus the expenses, which is she bought them for 67.25. So we need to subtract 78.75 minus 67.25 to find the profit. So this is 0, 5, 1, 11. So that means that she earned 11 pesos and 50 cents, which is letter A. Question number 22. An online shop sells a certain calculator for 950 pesos and charges 150 pesos for shipping within Manila, regardless of the number of calculators ordered. Which of the following shows the total cost of an order as a function of the number of calculators ordered X? So to find the total costs, using the variable y, we need to have y is equal to, we don't know how many calculators ordered, so that's why we're going to be using the x variable. And how much is each calculator? 950, right? So we need to multiply 950, that's the price, by the quantity or the number of calculators ordered. And what else is important here? The shipping fee, right? Which is 150 pesos for any number of calculators ordered. So the answer is letter D. Again, you need to multiply the costs by the number of calculators ordered, and then there is an initial fee, which is called the shipping fee, of 150 pesos. In Algebra 1, we call this the slope-intercept form, y is equal to mx plus b, wherein m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. And we will explain this more in our next questions. Question number 23. One side of a 45-45-90 triangle measures x centimeters. What is the length of the hypotenuse? So here we have a right triangle, and the two sides are congruent because we have a 45-45-90 triangle. So if this is a 45-45-90 triangle, that means you have a 90-degree angle, you have 45 degrees, you have 45 degrees. It's asking for the length of the hypotenuse. And the measurement of one side is x. Now, in a 45-45-90 triangle theorem, we know that the legs are the same, so that means this will also be x. And to calculate for the hypotenuse, you're simply multiplying the leg by square root of 2. Again, in a 45-45-90 triangle, the hypotenuse is square root of 2 times the leg. So that means the hypotenuse is x times root 2, which is letter D. It is really important that you memorize this 45-45-90 triangle so that you can easily solve for the missing sides of this special triangle instead of doing the Pythagorean theorem all the time. Okay? Question number 24. The legs of one right triangle are 9 and 12, while those of another right triangle are 12 and 16. How much longer is the perimeter of the larger triangle than the perimeter of the smaller triangle? In our previous video, we learned about Pythagorean triple. The basic Pythagorean triple is 3, 4, and 5. And these are the sides of a right triangle, and the hypotenuse here is the largest number, which is 5. So, the given problem says that one triangle has legs 9 and 12. So, if the legs are 9 and 12, what do you think is the hypotenuse of that triangle? From the basic Pythagorean triple 3, 4, 5, what will you multiply to that to get these legs 9 and 12? Times 3, right? So 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 3 is 12. That means that the hypotenuse is 15. And calculating for the perimeter is simply adding the 9, 12, and 15, and that will be 36. The second triangle has legs 12 and 16. Again, based on the 3, 4, 5, we need to multiply this by 4 to get 12. 4 times 4, we get 16. That means the hypotenuse should be 5 times 4, which is 20. And if you add the sides of this triangle, the perimeter will be 48. And the question is asking you, how much longer is the perimeter of the larger compared to the smaller triangle? So we're simply subtracting these two. So that means the difference is 12. So the answer is letter C. Question number 25. Determine the midpoint of the line segment joining the points 7, -3 and -1, 6. So this problem is asking to calculate for the midpoint. And to calculate for the midpoint, we need to first get the average of the x values. So the x values are 7 and -1 divided by 2. Average means you need to add 7 and -1, and then you're dividing by 2. That will be the x-coordinate of your midpoint. For the y value, we also need to add -3 plus 6 and then divide by 2. So the midpoint in simplest form will be 7 plus -1 is 6. 6 divided by 2, which is of course 3. For the second, -3 plus 6 divided by 2, so that is 3 over 2. That means the midpoint is 3, 3 over 2, which is letter C. Again, to calculate for the midpoint, you're simply adding the two x values and then divide by 2. That's your x-coordinate. And then do the same thing with the y-coordinates. You add the two y values and then divide by 2. Question number 26. Which of this has the longest perimeter? So in this problem, make sure that you remember how to calculate for the perimeter. And how do you do it? You're simply adding the sides of any polygon. So for option A, it is a square with 21 cm on one side, which means we simply multiply 21 by 4 because a square has 4 equal sides. So this will be 84 cm. Option B, a rectangle has 19 cm long and 24 cm wide. Since that is the rectangle, the two lengths have the same measurement. So times 2. The width also has the same 24 and 24. So this will be 38 and this is 48. So adding up together, we get 86 cm. Option C, an equilateral triangle whose side is 28 centimeters. When we say equilateral triangle, that means that all 3 sides are equal. So we simply multiply 28 times 3 and that gives us 84 cm as well. So now this means that so far B is the longest perimeter. So we can eliminate A and C. Option D, A right triangle whose two legs are 24 and 32 cm. So for question letter D, we need to use the Pythagorean theorem to calculate first for the hypotenuse. We know that one leg is 24 and the other is 32. In our previous example, we have the Pythagorean triple 3, 4, and 5. If one side measures 24, the other measures 32, what's the pattern here? What did you multiply with 3 to get 24? Times 8, right? So 3 times 8 is 24. 4 times 8 is 32. That means the corresponding side of 5 is 5 times 8. That is 40. So this means choice D has a hypotenuse of 40. And now we add 24, 32, and 40. So the perimeter for this is 64 and 32. That is 96 cm. So the answer is letter D. Question number 27. How many square inches are in 2 square yards? So here it's a conversion problem. First is 1 yard is how many inches? 36 inches. So if you do 1 yard square, that means you need to do 36 times 36 because 1 yard is 36. Yard square means 36 square. And if you do 36 times 36, 6 times 6 is 36, carry 3. 6 times 3, 18, plus 3 is 21. 3 times 6, 18, carry 1. 3 times 3, 9, plus 1 is 10. So it is 1,296. Now, if it is 2 yards square, this means we need to multiply 1296 by 2. We need to multiply by 2. So multiplying this by 2, we get 12, carry 1, 19, carry 1, 5, and then we have 2. So the answer is 2,592 square inches, which is letter D. Question number 28. In a playground for kindergarten kids, 18 children are riding tricycles and bicycles. If there are 43 wheels in all, how many tricycles are there? The best method in solving this problem is by trying out the choices instead of doing the systems of equations. It's asking how many tricycles are there. So we have the tricycles and then we have the bicycles. So for option A, if there's 8 tricycles, then we need to multiply by 3 because there's 3 wheels. And if there's 8 tricycles, that means that there will be 10 bicycles because there's 18 children total. So 10 times 2, and that gives us 24 plus 20, and that is 44. For option B, 9 tricycles means 9 times 3. If there's 9 tricycles, that means there's also 9 bicycles, so 9 times 2. And this will be 9 times 3, 27. 9 times 2, 18, and this is 45. This will not work also because we need 43 wheels in all. Option C. If there's 7 tricycles, we need to do 7 times 3. If there's 7 tricycles, that means there's 11 bicycles, so 11 times 2. 7 times 3 is 21, 11 times 2 is 22, and this is 43 wheels total. So that means the answer is letter C. If you want to check letter D, it will not work either. Because if there's 11 tricycles times 3, that means there's only 7 bicycles. 7 times 2. 11 times 3 is 33. 7 times 2 is 14. So we have 47, and that will not work either. Question number 29. Nelia takes 3/4 hour to dress and get ready for school. It takes 4/5 hour to reach the school. If her class starts promptly at 8 a.m., what is the latest time she can jump out of bed in order not to be late for school? So here, first thing that we need to do is to find out how many minutes or hours she needed before getting to school. So the first one is 3/4 of an hour, which means 3/4 of 60 minutes getting dressed and getting ready. So to simplify this, you can do 60 divided by 4 is 15. 15 times 3 is 45 minutes. Or one way to think about this is 1/4 of an hour is 15 minutes. 3/4 of an hour is 45 minutes. Now, Nelia also takes 4/5 of an hour, so 4/5 of 60 minutes, to reach the school. So the same thing, 60 divided by 5 is 12. 12 times 4 is 48 minutes. So that means she needs a total of 93 minutes before getting to school. So 93 minutes is the same thing as 1 hour and 33 minutes because 1 hour is 60 minutes. So, what time she needs to wake up for not to be late? The answer is letter B. Because if it's 6:27 a.m. plus 33 minutes, that's 7 a.m. And there's one more hour, that will be 8 a.m. So she needs to wake up before 6:27 a.m. for her not to be late for school. Question number 30. Which common fraction is equivalent to 0.215, or we read that as 215 thousandths? So since there's 3 decimal places, this decimal can be written as 215 over 1,000, or that is 215 thousandths. Since both numerator and denominator ends with a 5 and 0, we know that this can be divisible by 5. So this is now 43 when you divide it, and 1,000 divided by 5 is 200. And here we go. The answer is letter A. Here are the answers for questions 21 through 30, and I hope that you're learning something and you're on the way to passing your lead exam.